Good morning, everyone. It's Rollie, and I am coming to you with Chatting with Wisdom again for our. This is our episode 2. Like, this is so exciting that this is season 2, episode 2. So I'm really excited about that. And here we have Shelley. So Shelley's an author, um, a doctor of meditation, a master of education, a peace pioneer, and she spent nearly 4 decades as a meditation master in India. And she offers a different perspective on meditation. She helps you get grounded in self awareness and connect with your inner guidance, the knower. And so, welcome, Shelley. So, it's Shelley Astrof.
That's right. That's
Perfect.
right.
So prior to jumping on, one of the things that Shelley has pointed out is that she's a fellow Canadian. So this is pretty awesome. She's from Montreal originally, in India currently. So how are you today, Shelley?
Absolutely excellent. It's such a pleasure to be here and to speak with you from my from Canada. I always get a thrill.
And I think that's always so cool too. It's like, oh, they're from our country. And then it's even more so, it's like, oh my God, they're from our province. Right. So I get super excited when somebody's from Ontario as well. So like that's I get excited that they're Canadian, and then I get super excited when they are from our same province. So this is pretty cool. And we were just talking about how close that I am to Quebec's border. And so we're pretty close to being neighbors. Mind you, Montreal is way on the other end of Quebec compared to where we are, but we're still abutting neighbors. So this is pretty cool. So how long have you been in India?
I've been here on and off about 40 years, coming
Wow.
and going back to Canada and coming back here. And there was an excellent meditation master here, and I studied with with an international group, studying meditation and philosophy, um, and just trying to perfect that state of meditation that brings that sense of peace into our lives.
Nice.
Yeah.
So um, can you, for some people who like, I can't meditate, this is really challenging, do you have any small tip of something that they can do in terms of being able to start the process of being able to meditate?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, I want to say that in order to begin your meditations, you never ever give up anything. You just stay who you are, and what you do is you just start to meditate. So we would close our eyes, and we can watch our breath. So when which is called that pranayam, which is the breath is the movement of the breath is actually connected to the movement of the mind. So as you regulate your breathing, you're actually regulating the current of your mind. So if ever you've seen when you get very excited or scared, your breath is really going quickly, like shallow and quick. You even see it sometimes in animals. And when you're more relaxed, it's more steady and deep. So usually you would just start off by just watching the natural flow of your breath. And then you would see that when your breath changes direction from your exhalation to your inhalation, there's this pause. And that pause has a name called kumbhak. And in that pause, if you can just for a second or 2 seconds, just pay attention to it. So you just keep consciously paying attention to your breathing. And every now and again, you can just pause your breath and hold it. It's very, very simple. You don't have to meditate for long, but for the sense of knower meditation, what you would do is you would put your attention on the one who's watching your breath. Not just first you're doing the breathing, and then you're watching the pause, and then you pay attention to that one who's doing the watching, and you start to see that your breath was there already before you started watching. You didn't create your breath coming. You just notice that it's already there. And the one who is doing the noticing and the watching, that's the knower of who you are.
That is so cool, right? So, because we always just, we often have this assumption that it's supposed to be like, and like this full on, and not that that isn't helpful or that isn't good meditation either. But a lot of times when I'm talking to people about being able to start meditating, that's one of the things that your mind automatically goes into, that sitting meditation, and that you have to be there for a long time. But it's about just being able to bring that awareness to your own self. And so I love how you talk about the knower. So can you tell us a little bit more about the knower?
Oh, absolutely. First off, I want to say there's also mantra meditation, but knower meditation is always placing the attention on the knower. So the first thing we have to do is we have to see the distinction between what changes and what doesn't change. So what changes in our life is our mind is always changing, our body is changing, our situations and circumstances are always changing. And so if you think about having been a young child, and then you grew up and you were in grade school, and then you were a teenager and an adult. Now, if somebody were to show you a picture of you at 3 years old or 10 years old or 15, you know inside, without a shadow of a doubt, that that's you. You would never think it's someone else. You know that that's you. But when you remember back and you look at that, your body is not the same. It's completely changed. Your thinking process is completely different. Your situation and circumstances are different. Everything has changed. But what is it that knows that that's you? That's the knower, and that never changes. And that's the kind of essence of who you are. So in knower meditation, we bring that attention to that knower of who you are, which is always, always for your well-being. And it naturally, like when you close your eyes and you either watch your breath or do mantra or just watch, everything naturally settles down. And your mind, which is always changing, and it's sort of fluctuating like this, when you're in that space of watching the changes, your mind becomes absorbed in the well-being and the peace of your knower. And for that time that it's with it, the mind, which is always influenced by something, either by your senses, by your circumstances, by whatever's going on around you, it's now influenced by the peace of your own self. So when you open your eyes, the mind has that influence. So you don't have to meditate for long to receive its results. But when you do that, you do feel that sense of peace and joy that comes with it. And of course, it will again become influenced by everything that surrounds you. So you can just close your eyes again for a couple of minutes.
So, and it really does make that difference in terms of how, and how you actually connect when you just allow yourself to just be in that moment, right?
Yes.
So it's like allowing yourself to just be in that moment, because a lot of times, a lot of the people that I work with have anxiety, and they're like, but I can't meditate. And then their brain goes into all these reasons why they can't meditate and what it is that's happening. And when they just slow down and just listen and focus in on their breath, then that takes them automatically into that knower. Is that what it is that you're saying?
Yes. But and also I would say that when the anxiety is there, if you just watch it, don't engage in it, and um, don't try to change it. Just be the sky, space of the sky, and the sky's okay if a bird flies through it and poops. It's okay if an airplane flies through it and has its exhausts and pollution. It's fine if the clouds are coming. The sky just remains the sky, because whatever comes as your thought will also go, because that's what's changing. So instead of dealing with your thoughts in meditation, you just watch your thoughts and be with your knower, which is just that little bit different than when you're watching, you are in that space of peace. So when you're dealing with your mind, you're always going to be, should I do this? Should I do that? But when you're dealing with the space, you're just the space, and you let it, like, a ball, when it goes down the hill, it'll go to the bottom, but then it'll stop.
Yeah.
Your mind will stop. It's like the little 2-year-old is having a tantrum, and at some point, it's over.
Yeah. And you're right, because it just kind of comes and it goes, doesn't it? So like that,
Yeah.
and I love the analogies that you've just used, because like it's just so, it makes it so that it's just more clear, right? So I love the analogy of the sky, where it just, everything just kind of floats in and out of the sky, whatever it is. So whether it's the clouds that are moving in, and if you just watch the sky, it continues. So like just even when you do cloud watching, right? So like if I know that many of us don't have a lot of time to be able to do that, but like I remember just lying there, just watching the clouds move, and as they shift, and then they shift into different patterns, and you see different things, and so I love being able to have where you're in that space, like, so the sky is that space, and I love that analogy. That's perfect.
Yes.
So
And if you see your mind as if it were like a camera, so the camera will take a snapshot, here or here or here. So whatever, like on your phone, whatever lens you have, your mind as a camera will take its picture wherever it's focusing on. But the camera, like the mind, the camera can't know what's beyond itself. And what I mean by that is the camera can't know the photographer. The camera can't know the one who's taking the picture. So in the same way, the mind can't know the one who is behind it, which is the knower. The mind will go where its habit is. The mind will go where the senses take it. But when you tune into your knower, then you, as the knower, as your essential self, which is for your well-being, you can focus on where you want to focus your attention. So you actually have a more expanded vision, and a focus that will lead you to that sense of peace that you might be looking for.
Well, and it's just really interesting. And I love how the universe works in terms of like bringing people or conversations or situations together. And so just this week, I was actually talking with somebody who was sharing how her entire leg was in a in a cast. And casts are naturally itchy. I've never been in a cast, but I know anybody who's ever had a cast. It's like, oh my God, like it's itchy. It's driving me crazy. And one of the things that she was talking about is that because she had had surgery as well as the cast, she wasn't able to like just kind of stick something in there and scratch it all about, because otherwise she potentially could damage whatever it was that had been done in terms of the surgery. So one of the things that somebody had taught her was being able to like get out of that physical space and into that mind space that you're talking about, and just being able to just allow it to just pass, right? So just allow it to be. And so like this is and like I said, I love how the universe just kind of pulls things together. And that conversation on Monday, I wouldn't have never thought that would be relevant today at this particular moment, right? So like I just love how things just kind of coincide and remind us of the things that we need to be doing, and how everything just kind of all flows together and becomes quite natural in terms of our circumstances.
Absolutely. Because when you think about it, when she's asleep, she doesn't feel the itching. So you can through meditation and through the ways that she was guided, you can go as if like you're not attending it, so you
Yeah.
won't feel the itch. Yeah, exactly. That's
Right. So
amazing.
yeah, I love that. Like I love how that statement of like you're not attending it, right? So like you're not showing up to the party of whatever it is what's going on, right? So you actually get to step back and say, yeah, I'm not going, right? So that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you have been doing over, because you said that you've been mastering this over the last 40 years, and that you've been trained with an incredible master of meditation. So can you tell me a little bit more about what is it that you've been doing in the last 40 years?
All right. Well, I started off as a teacher, and I started off teaching meditation to my class, and then when I became more involved in meditation and met my teacher, I I knew that this was the work I wanted to do, and so I've been studying Vedant philosophy and the Gita, like the scriptures of it, but the theory and practice of meditation is very important, because to have that understanding in your mind, and to be able to communicate that understanding of the how to meditate for the benefit, for your own benefit, is absolutely what I've been doing, and it's subtle and it's slow, and then all of a sudden one day you go, oh, look at that! I don't get upset about those things anymore. When did that happen?
So, and I like the point that you've made is that it's subtle and it's slow, right? So we're often looking for those quick fixes of like how to be able to get things going. And so I've had an incredible teacher as well, who had actually, one of the things that he teaches is that you start off with like, so if it's 30 seconds, then it's 30 seconds. If it's 1 minute, then it's 1 minute. And then just slowly increasing it until it becomes that you can actually sit in that space for like 20 minutes without having all of those concerns. But like you said, it's it takes time, right? So
It
it
takes
takes time to be able to build.
Yes, because if you are somebody who hasn't meditated before, your nervous system may not feel comfortable. So I would say that make yourself very comfortable. Seat yourself so that you feel comfortable, and slowly close your eyes and start off slowly. I mean, some people, they can start off for longer periods, but it's not a competition and it's not a race. It's about you.
And you are, oh, go ahead. Sorry. There must be a short delay.
Some days you could meditate for longer and some days for shorter. It's what you need.
Yeah. And one of the things that I often tell my clients too is that, like, especially with everything that's going on, is being able to stand in the grocery line and be able to meditate in that space, right? Especially when it's like that busy hustle and bustle time of the holiday season, and now with everything that's going on in the world, and just being able to like just be in that space is like when it starts to overwhelm, is just being able to just focus in on that breath, just bringing that awareness to your body and allowing love, being able to become that knower.
Yes. And you can know while you're standing in that line in the grocery store that it's going to end soon. It'll be your turn. And then you'll be out. You'll reach all of this changes. And if you keep knowing that the changes are happening, and just, you know that it'll change to something else. And then if you reach inside to your knower, then you get the strength to just wait. If you're feeling anxious. And it occupies,
and it's just it does. And that's one of the things that I often tell my clients is your mind can't do two things at once. So if you're focusing on one thing, it allows you to be able to have that space to be able to kind of move through. So now, what are some of the things, Shelley, that you do? So is there anything specific that how people are able to connect with you? I know that your contact information is in the description, but are there any things that you are doing or anything like that you want to be able to share with people?
Yes, I'm now having a Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a free weekly meditation, and on our website, with your information is there, knower.ca, on classes. You can go and get the Zoom link, and so I do it every Sunday morning, and I also live stream it to a private Facebook group, so anybody can rewatch any of the meditations that we do every week.
Nice.
And I do have classes that I do, and I started out doing meditation for children. So I have having been a teacher, and then I was a curriculum specialist. I wrote a book on teaching meditation to children using insightful stories I've heard in India. And it's called the Knower Curriculum. And there are 9 timeless tales. So I have, the stories are in there, but I also have a separate book just for children. And I have an audio book just for the children, and that goes with the coloring book. And all that is on our website under shop. But I have to say that my book, The Knower Curriculum, it kind of united that part of me that had a career in Montreal as a teacher, and then at McGill doing BEd courses, and then having spent all my years in India, it was as if I merged my Canadian Western life with my Eastern Indian life into this one book. So for parents and teachers, it's wonderful because it's simple and it introduces meditation and pranayama, breath exercises, and mantra, which is the sound, and hatha yoga, the exercises. And then I have, having been a very schooly teacher, I have a whole section on games and activities. So at the second part of the book, I have I'll have a story, and then with each story, I show all the different ways you can present the story to classes of children. But quite honestly, I've done it with adults. The stories don't have to be for children because they're really amazing, insightful stories that make you think about yourself and who you really are.
Nice. So I included both of those two links. So I included the one for your classes, and I also included the one for your shop. And so as I had shared prior to jumping on, because I don't prepare for these sessions until just before coming on so that I can find out who is it that I'm actually going to be speaking to. And just because I want the conversation to be naturally flowing and that kind of thing. So I don't go into great detail of like learning anything more. And as I had said to Shelley, is that I'm super excited to tap into some of these resources because I do offer programs for kids dealing with stress and anxiety. And so that's one of the things that I'm definitely going to be looking forward to connecting with your different resources. So thanks for sharing that.
Yes. And I want to say that please contact me through it's shelley@knower.ca, my email address, for if you ever want any assistance or a question or anything. I'm always available.
That's perfect. So so thank you so much, Shelley. Is there anything else that you wanted to share that you thought would be really important for the viewers to be able to know prior to moving on to saying goodbye?
I would just like to say that when you close your eyes in meditation, you do reach that sense of who you are, that peace inside, and it really works. It worked for me. And just try a couple of minutes a day, even several times a day, just little bits, little steps, and see what happens. Make the experiment yourself.
Nice. Thank you so much, Shelley. And thank you everyone for watching. And for those of you who are going to be listening through our podcast, our audio podcast, welcome. And again, please feel free to reach out to Shelley at any point to be able to get any guidance or questions or support that you need. So I know that I will definitely be reaching out. So this is amazing. And thank you so much, Shelley. And have a fabulous week, everyone.
Thank you. My pleasure.